greetings of the day, everyone. Today, I, Nitansha, here on Point channel. That's On Point Bharat channel. So today we are going to have our esteemed guest with us. That's Kebuya. So he's from Cameroon. So let's begin with a little talk show about that. What's the experience of sir on the basics of the one of the subject that's of the psychology. Though I need to tell my audience that one of the subject psychology in which I do feel like that's one of the trending topic when we talk about it, right? So today we are going to talk over psychology factors, how it influences people and so many other things, right? So let's begin with it. So sir, let's talk about, as your expertise is on personality development, right?
Yes.
And you are personalized when it comes to different aspects of psychology.
Sure.
So could you please give me a formal brief introduction about that? What are your expertise over psychology?
As I said, I'm Dr. Kebuya Nathaniel Nganchi from Hiptex University in Cameroon, situated in Yaoundé, the capital of Cameroon. I am a doctor, a PhD holder in psychology, specifically industrial and organizational psychology.
Right.
That talks about differences in people, that talks about different mental aspects, that talks about how people are able to interact in a workplace, how people are able to liaise and interact and manage issues as far as a workplace is concerned. So basically, as an expert in the domain of psychology, you know, we'll talk about psychology, we'll talk about the mental state.
Exactly.
Yeah,
because I do feel like that's very booming, one of the booming topic there in our society.
Yeah.
So
sure.
let's begin with it, right? Yeah. So sir, could you please give me one of the brief information about how you define the word personality? Because I do feel like, let's say if you would be asking me the word personality, for me, that's my own perspective, right? For me, I define personality as it's not only about your outer aura. It's about your inner aura too.
Yeah.
When you carry yourself, it's about the way you are carrying your personality, right? So how you could define the word personality?
Personality in all, briefly, talks about that individual characteristic traits.
Right.
Yes. We'll talk about the characteristic traits. What defines you? We'll talk about personality, what defines an individual. So my personality traits are different from yours. So we are all men. For example, 30 years of age.
Right.
What distinguishes Kebuya from John or from Peter?
Right.
That determines your characteristics. And now we'll talk about these characteristics,
right,
or about this personality. You must look at the inner perspective.
Exactly.
Because behavior, which is a physical phenomenon,
right,
starts from inside. And it is only from inside that those activities takes place before right, the exposure comes out in the form of a behavior.
Exactly.
And so personality is the individual characteristic traits that somebody has that distinguishes person A from person B.
So true. So as you talked about the behavioral, right? So let me give you one of an example.
Yeah.
Let's say there's my friend who is having behavioral issues. How I need to handle that friend? Because in India, I do feel like when we talk about different behaviors, we don't study it. We don't study it really well. Whenever we are interacting with someone, we do feel like if that person is not really well, we need to cut off with that person. But I do feel like when we know about different traits of behavioral issues or how we need to react on the things, that's something everybody must be knowing about it.
Good. Thank you very much again. The first thing I want to make you to understand is that people are different, as I said. And if you don't study what we call behavioral traits, it becomes a problem.
Exactly.
So automatically, to be able to manage the behavior of somebody, you must understand what we talk about individual differences. Individual differences is that perspective in psychology that talks about how to be able to manage a behavior from person A to person B.
Right.
Because generally, even a two identical twin that were born on the same day, they have different behavior.
Yeah.
And so if you don't know that people are different,
right,
and that certain things that you like,
right,
another person does not like it.
Right.
Managing a behavior is a problem.
So there's one of a very interesting question which came in my mind right now. So let's say if I do have my female friend, right? Do you really think then when a particular gender is interacting with the same gender, let's say if I'm interacting with my female friend, right? Do you really think my the type of thinking which I carry for that girl that varies from the other gender?
The first thing is that we talk about conflict of personality.
Exactly.
Conflict of personality. Every woman, if we're talking about a woman, every woman automatically has the perspective of conflict.
Yeah.
Why
is it about jealous?
Jealousy.
Yeah.
Yes, jealousy. yes. That is jealousy. So because every woman, even a man, when you see me, I am dressed this way.
Right.
The first idea is, how can I be like this person?
Exactly.
And because we talked about individual differences,
right.
When you already have that idea, how can I be like this person? Human beings are of different dimensions.
Right.
And so once you start thinking like that, it brings about that intrinsic aspect in you.
Exactly.
And that intrinsic aspect now determines the differences.
So true.
So because of that, it's very possible you start developing that anger.
Yeah.
And generally, as far as growth and development in psychology is concerned, it is understood that women are very feeble.
Exactly.
That is, they always get angry more than men.
So true.
Statistics.
That's not
research,
true. I do feel like
research has
I
shown,
do have. Okay.
Good. Research has proven that.
Let me ask one of the other question. So let's say if, you just said that men, when we talk about men, they are little much aggressive when it comes to their behavior, right?
Yeah.
Is it? You mean it, right?
Yeah. Statistics have shown
are
that
you in
because
a doubt or
most,
you mean
no,
it?
most often than not, if you look at in the social perspective,
exactly.
we have said that women are sober. Why? Because it is understood that they go through that pains of childbearing. And so they understand some of those.
But I do feel like when it comes to men, I do feel like that they have much more responsibilities than women. Is it?
Good. And it was just leading me to what I was saying.
Yeah.
From my culture, I don't know whether it's the culture of India, men have almost 80%
exactly
of task. You pay house rent, you go to work, you provide school fees for the children, you pay food money for children to eat, you fuel your car, you put fuel in your wife's car. And because of those saturated activities, there is a tendency that it brings about tension in the mindset.
So true.
Why? Because I am calculating, where will I get money for school fees? Where will I get money to give my wife? Where will I get money for this? And because of those saturated things, the least thing you have,
here in India
it brings
too.
About
Exactly.
It brings about that tension. And so the mindset determines the activities of what goes on.
That's there in India too.
So generally, because when somebody is too overlabors the self, let us say when you overwork.
That's why I'm adding that that's there in India too. But here, I do feel like with the time, women are also into the fields. Women are also earning really well. So here, there's a little discrimination, but yeah, we are balancing it. We are trying to balance it as much as we can, right? So, sir, my other question that's very interesting to ask. So let's say when we talk about different issues that comes under psychology, right? What are your thoughts about OCD? That's one of the very, very common disease that's there when it comes to specifically psychology, right? OCD. Obsession of when you have much obsession of cleanliness, right?
Okay. You know, there is
that's obsessive compulsive disorder, right?
Yeah. You know, the different disorders are managed by different therapeutic approaches.
True.
Yes. And so a particular therapy might not be able to distinctively handle another perspective. And as you said, psychology is very broad.
Exactly.
You know, the obsessive nature of every individual.
Exactly.
It can originate maybe from birth. Exactly. It can originate maybe from social interactions and so on and so forth. And that's why we talk about intelligent quotient. Yes, the IQ level of somebody, which you hear somebody will tell you, you fool, you idiot. Have you measured the IQ level? And so those obsessive issues, they come because of...
They come because of, you could say, some trauma or some experiences?
Good, that's what I'm saying, that it comes because of maybe your activities in the society,
Maybe your food.
The food. Maybe
The way your...
the gene. The genetic perspective.
The genetic perspective is
yes,
also there, right?
it's also there. And so because of a particular gene, it's very possible that the way I interact is not the same way you interact. And because of that, it brings about the obsessive perspective or obsessive disorders in people. And so those different disorders, as we are talking about, are managed by different therapeutic, by different therapeutic individuals. And so we cannot really clear, except we specify those things, but generally behavior, all of these things is identified through behavior.
Right.
Yes, so generally it can be handled knowing individual differences.
True.
Yeah.
So my other question would be about that, you came here in when it comes about different colleges or universities, right? So let's talk about that, how you could give one of the moral to the students, that how they should behave in the classrooms when it comes to classroom behavior. I do feel like we live in that generation where students, they don't bother about that. It's really necessary to behave well in the classroom. How they need to behave well with the teachers, how they need to behave well with the professors. Could you please give any of the one solution to this very younger generation at which they need to work on?
Yeah, this is a really burning issue in our society today.
True.
I thought it was only in Cameroon. The first thing, generally we talk about classroom management. I happened to give a course yesterday in one of the class, the education students in city school.
Right.
And classroom management is that idea whereby a teacher tries to organize the class so that the activities or whatever he or she is teaching can go on successfully.
Right.
And so I am telling my students out there, the first idea is that some people come to school not because they want to come to school. At times because they are being pushed by their parents.
So true.
Because they are being pushed by some individuals. And so because they just came to school because they want to come, they tend to influence the others.
So sir, in your country, how this culture goes on? Is it that in your country also it's about you give the chance to students to choose their school, or that's how it's working here in this country?
We have issues. Sorry, we have those similar issues, and the idea there is that it's very possible for a parent to compare or to force a child to go to some schools. But some other children, they prefer to choose their schools. Maybe a parent might say that I want my child to go only to HIPTEX University because maybe he knows the managing director of HIPTEX, he knows the director. But you know, with the present dispensation, the present changes, every child wants to maybe be alone or maybe to have that autonomy, especially when it comes to university life. So like as you said in your question, how those children, I was leading on how the students can manage and be responsible in class. So the message out there is that not every child in class wants to learn. Some children come to class because they want to come and discourage others. And so if you are in class and you think that a peer or your friend, you want to follow your friend, be very careful, because the tendency is that he knows or she knows that she is not, whether she fails or not, nothing happens. We also talk about background of parents. There are some children that are coming from wealthy background.
I do feel like that nowadays, if parents are not giving chance to their children to explore, that's how this could be one of the factor where students are lacking behind, right?
You talk about parental influence.
Yeah, I do feel like I need to talk about parenting style too.
We know we have the different parenting styles.
Exactly.
Authoritarian,
I would love if you would please elaborate a brief about that. What kind of parenting style should appreciate by the Indian parents?
I will tell the Indian population that we have so many types of parenting styles. Authoritarian, dictatorial, cohesive, and many others.
Let's not go into it, right?
Yes.
Because it's a very vast topic.
Yes, but the idea is that we used to say no particular one is the best.
All right.
So parents should be able to use this together.
Yeah.
If you see a child that he or she is doing something that is not correct.
Right.
You need to bring in the authoritarian style, the
Right.
authoritarian perspective.
Right.
What you say becomes true. There is another one which is a laissez-faire.
Exactly.
There are times laissez-faire parentinghood is very important because you need to allow the child at times.
But the problem is people don't know about it because they are not into the books. Might be they don't want to learn because they believe like that's there in their blood. Parenting means howsoever or whatsoever they are doing with their kids, right?
No, they need to evolve as the world is evolving.
Sir,
That's what I was talking about.
Let's not now get into the
Divert.
parenting diversity, right?
Yeah.
So my last question, not the least one, right? Because we are less with the time right now.
Thank you.
So I would love to ask you that what kind of message you want to give to the younger generation, because as they are into the mobile phones all the time, you could say. They are wasting their time in paging up the Instagram, Facebook, the social media. So that's also, impacting the mental health. One last message you want to give to this younger generation, our viewers, about that, what kind of solution you want to give them, that how they can cultivate their time into the other useful things.
Well, what brought me here was visitation in a university. And I have this opportunity now to be exposing my perspective and my idea to the entire India. The first thing as a child, you need to understand what you are watching. Why are you watching what you are watching?
Exactly.
So we need to do what we call self-respect. So every child out there should first of all understand what we call self-respect. Respect yourself. Know that the future is for you, it's not for your parents. If you don't work for your future now, tomorrow your parents may not be there, because it is understood that as people are aging, as they grow old, they die. And so before your parents will leave you, where will you be?
Exactly.
What I am saying is that I saw a video the other day where a child was always skipping the fence in school.
Exactly.
You don't want to go to school. When you are old, they will use you to be carrying things and selling. If you want to be a responsible person tomorrow, you must be educated. If you think you will spend your time watching irrelevant things, I bet
that's how
the farm is waiting for you. Because offices, big entrepreneurs, big business
they're
people,
also facing so many issues like this nowadays,
and so if you don't manage your time now, your time will be taken from you.
So sir, now we need to say goodbye to our viewers, right? Thank you so much for coming to our show. Thank you so much for giving your relevant time, and thank you for talking about the different aspects, right? So here, viewers, so now we need to say goodbye. So here, I, Nitansha, with the cameraman Kuljit sir. So I'm saying you goodbye for a while. Thank you.